Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Citizen Sleeper. And in the last episode, guys, we were able to actually release the Gardener. The Gardener is out of the bag and now traveling across all of the systems in the Eye. When we left, well, actually, we had to leave in a hurry because PK got word that Eshe was actually about to leave the station. We had to say, actually, a few goodbyes in the last episode. But PK is going to try and stop her, and we ran into Castor on the way out as well. Fortunately, that didn't end with any kind of violence, but we need to see what's going on with PK. So let's see here. You arrive into chaos at the cordon. The final shuttles are leaving the ramshackle docks that have formed along the edge of the gap during the flotilla's stay. As they do, groups of evacuees push on board, hoping to be among the final people to escape from the Eye. The fear created by the Flux event became a series of rumors, and those rumors have driven many out of their homes. Others have staunchly doubled down on their position on the Eye, refusing to accept any gossip of a second collapse. You're unsure what you think. Is the collapse a certainty? Will PK's actions this cycle have changed anything at all? You're tired of these questions, and instead set out to look for your friends. You quickly spot PK and Eshe at the far side of the chaotic bay. You quickly make your way through the crowds, slipping between the gaps in the rushing evacuees, stepping over bags and luggage. Progress is slow, but as you approach, you can hear their voices over the crowd. You try to push closer, but there are many evacuees gathered around them in their shuttle. You have made your decision, PK, and it puts you against me. Eshe is standing with one foot on the boarding ramp, while PK argues with her. The evacuees are eyeing them, eager to intervene, but intimidated by Eshe's evident strength and attitude. Eshe, it doesn't have to be like this. PK's looked desperate, tear tracks already on their cheeks. We can find a way. Eshe shakes her head. I have always protected you, PK. I have taken you under my wing. But I understand that you are not mine to control. And you have chosen to be here and not with me despite everything. I've chosen to stop running, PK cries out in frustration. You can choose to stop running too. We can stay here and try to live. Don't you remember what it feels like to live, Eshe? Eshe turns away. I remember what it was like to live on Hawthorne. What it was like to be worried for your safety every cycle, to live under the control of my mother, of the administration. To work to maintain something that no one wanted, no one needed, so that our corporation could maintain a foothold in this system. You talk as if this place, in the very same system, is any different. What is there here but the same grind, for other masters, for employers, administrators, for those who gain from our struggles? There may not be a corporation controlling the Eye, but there is control. There is power in action here. So what then? PK shouts. You run from anyone or everyone who could ever be close to you in search of freedom? In search of some perfect place where no one has power over you? PK is crying openly now. I want to be part of something, Eshe, even if it's broken and suffering, even if it cannot be free. Eshe pauses and takes a deep breath. She nods, her eyes closed. This isn't Hawthorne anymore. We aren't tied by our childhood or by our shared need to escape. We are both just people in this system. She opens her eyes. I release you, PK. You are free of me. Eshe, please. They hold out a hand. There's a life here if you want it. Eshe turns and smiles at PK. Her eyes wet now, too. Then you live it for me, PK. I can't. And she climbs up the boarding ramp. The evacuees taking their chance to climb on board, too. You watch as the shuttle closes its ramp, lifts off, and leaves the bay. The crowds are dispersing now. As they get onto the shuttles or say their goodbyes and move back into the main part of the cordon, you push past the last of them to reach PK. PK doesn't turn as you come closer. Sleeper? Eshe's gone. She chose to leave. PK nods. I've known her my whole life. They wipe their face. Since we've arrived, we've been going different directions. They turn to face you. I'll miss the Briar, but she'll serve Eshe well. I know that. Sleeper! The shout takes you by surprise, and as you turn, you see Sol coming toward the bay towards you, the last two shuttles loading up behind him. He reaches you, his suit hissing as he does. I can't believe you'd make an old man run across this bay to get you. He pauses and takes a breath. The Singers have gone. They left at the start of the cycle. They broke away from the flotilla. You smile as you think of Tala, safely cradled within one of those Singer ships, on her way to the starward belt, and hopefully a reunion with her brother. Godspeed, Tala. What are you smiling at? Sol interrupts your thoughts. They forced our hand. We have to leave, now. Sol shakes his head. If we follow close enough behind, maybe they'll end up being our scouts anyway. I reckon any hostile spacers out there will give them a wide berth. Pilgrim Seed will need a little time to make our way out of the cordon, but I'm heading back now to get her started. Thankfully, the step ships are sticking with us, so we'll be plenty well supplied for the journey to the belt. He pauses. Anyway, I didn't plod all the way over here to tell you that. Sol looks between you and PK with a raised eyebrow. It's now or never, Sleeper. I'm good to my word and I kept a berth for you, but this is your last chance to make it. He scratches at his beard. Make a call. You glance out at the flotilla beyond the bay, beautiful in the light of Helion's sun. You think of the long journey to the starward belt, of the people inside the Pilgrim Seed, of the possible futures that await. Then you think of the people here, on the Eye, of PK beside you, of the Bantayan, of Tala, and the key that still hangs around your neck, of promises and possibilities. And you guys know my thoughts here. We have created a life here that a lot of people would actually be envious of. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we're gonna ride or die with the Eye. You open your mouth to speak and you realize this is the final time you will make this choice. You have to be sure. I'm staying, Sol. You say the words, and the moment you do, the weight of all of it seems to descend on you. You stumble a little, and then stand straight, refusing to be crushed. You feel a tightness in your chest and a haze blurring your thoughts. Sol nods. Well, good luck. You'll need it. He grips your shoulder and meets your eye. In the haze, his pitted and rough hand feels so real, so detailed that it grounds you. And then it's gone, and Sol goes with it, quickly moving to the waiting shuttle. As he does, you watch, unable to speak, your whole body pulsing. And then another hand falls on your shoulder and it grounds you once more. You turn to see PK's bright eyes. Let's go, Sleeper. You nod, and seeing how unsteady you are on your feet, PK puts an arm around you and steers you toward the entrance to the bay. As they do, you hear the roar, feel the wind as the shuttle lifts off and angles toward the flotilla. You don't turn. Instead, you keep your head down and focus on each step. As you do, you feel PK beside you, holding a little of your weight and you holding a little of theirs. This is how it will be for many cycles after you both leave the bay and head back into the Eye. You will both hold things for each other, remind each other of the choices you made, remind each other why it's important to keep going despite the moments when it seems impossible. You'll keep each other going. That support will be vital when the second flux event hits the Eye, when it knocks the entire free spoke off the power grid, making the whole station lurch with a sickening motion. when it cripples systems and corrupts processes, leading sections of the station to go dark or start venting oxygen, when holding on is all you can do, while the world seems to come apart around you. And yet somehow, the eye will persist. Systems will resist total collapse in ways that will seem inexplicable to many, but to you and PK, they'll signal the awakening of a new force within the station. That new force will bring with it new challenges and new possibilities in equal measure. Strange growths will be reported all around the station in the wake of the Flux event. Fungal crusts pushing through pipes and wiring. The eye will go wild and fecund, becoming a station of I have never heard that word before, becoming a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to a seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. There'll be a strange and unsettling beauty to this paradigm shift, as the greening of the station turns it from a corporate ruin to some altogether new assemblage of biological and mechanical structures. Rico will take on this challenge with energy that seems impossible for her age, and until her final day, she'll delight in the new mysteries the Eye and its gardener produce. And as this new era consolidates around the station, you'll find yourself in the Batayan most cycles, working to keep the place alive. The cycle where you invite Emphas to come make use of the kitchen will go from one-off event to a regular occurrence, and soon the Batayan will be filled with spacers eager to try the best preparation of the station's now abundant mushrooms. Hey! And on occasion, after a long shift at the Batayan, you'll hear the sound of the stray mewling, and you'll crumble up some food and sit and watch the cat eat as if it's the only thing in your world that matters. However, in all this newness, the bad old ways will still intrude. Senetstat, frustrated by the Eye's resilience, will begin to send more physical threats, and supply ships and traders will suddenly stop arriving, stopped by a blockade of corporate militia. Life on the Eye will be punctuated by wide-channel broadcast from Senetstat, stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, staking a claim on the system. Meanwhile, Haven Age's hardliners will fizzle out, losing their grip on the Haven Age Council. In their wake, Helene will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Haven Age's overreach, returning them to the caretaker role they had always intended to fulfill. As the cycles roll on and the threats gather, new broadcasts will join them, sent by Conway Extractions, making counterclaims on assets within the Helion system, and many on the Eye will grow quiet, losing their appetite for debating these political machinations as they tilt inexorably toward a corporate war. And ever on the Eye will spin, growing now in strange ways, haunted by strange new growths and hosting cultures of increasing resilience. As the Helion system descends into crisis, you'll find comfort in the fungal patterns, the familiar conversations, the spices and the smells that will accumulate around you as your body continues its unavoidable decay. They settle around you like a veil, and in time it'll be impossible to see the Eye without seeing its many variants and versions, pasts and potential futures, and this masking of the world will mark your approaching end. And one cycle, far from now, that accumulation of memories, of tastes, of people and places and moments will be the last thing you let go of. But for now, there's only you and PK, arms around each other, walking slowly out of the bay. Two figures born of crippled systems, linked together, continuing, despite your origins. And in this frozen moment, you focus on only the next step, because that is the only way you have learned to persist. And to persist is to believe that a future, any future at all, is possible. Man. Gareth Damian Martin, you absolute slice of fried gold, man. That was a great ending. Now I kind of want to play it back and see what would happen if we actually got on the flotilla transport, but that was great. You see both the bad and the good of your situation. You have PK here with you, who I guess would have been left behind if we had decided to go with the refugees, and it's kind of like PK would have been in your position if the situations would have been reversed, but you have a support structure. We still have our kitty. Emphas comes and starts working at the Bantayan for you. The sleeper has a life, a good life, in a chaotic time, in a chaotic developing time, that regardless what happens, whether attempted corporate takeovers or a new intelligence, like a biomechanical intelligence starting to form, the sleeper perseveres. And there are good times and bad times along the way, just like life. I loved this game. Loved it. I started playing it last year. It was in my top 3 games. This DLC does nothing but reinforce how good of a game Citizen Sleeper is. I highly recommend, guys, if you know anyone who does not know about this game and wants to play something unique, something special, this is what they need to play. They need to play Citizen Sleeper, because this game is such a diamond among all the different type of games you can find on Steam. The Sleeper's Travel Through the Eye is incredible. And I do want to thank you all very much for joining me on this journey. And I was wondering, when this DLC was coming out, I was like, I wonder if there is an end to the story, because over the course of our playthrough, we had multiple situations where we could have left. We could have left with the father and the daughter heading out on that huge transport. We could have went with the bounty hunter, I believe. Or no, the bounty hunter and the freighter crew. We could have told Gardner that we wanted to join the Consciousness. There was so many different possibilities, and we held on to see the end of this DLC and basically what was going to happen to the Eye in general. And yeah, it is good times, very good times. I can't say enough good things about it. But thank you for everyone who has held on through the main story and all this DLC. Greatly appreciate it. I have a link to the Citizen Sleeper Steam page in the description below. Play the game yourself, go different paths, see what happens. Buy this game for someone else. Let them experience this for the first time as well. You know, it may be something that changes their perspective on what an indie game can be, and what kind of, and storytelling. Because this game is very, very special. But if you guys like the series, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you in the next series. Later days, everyone.